What's going on, y'all? This is your boy Lee Majors once again. There's some things that I want to talk about today that got something to do with, the art of paying bills. I did one segment, if you go look on the channel, where I discussed and talked about the art of paying bills about a year ago. Is on the channel. You can look at one of the videos that's up on there. But today I wanted to break this down into a terminology in which our people, how can I say, can understand it of the streets, where our people can understand it from the streets. A lot of my mathematics I learned from hustling, you know what I'm saying, from coming up through the projects, being poor and shit. A lot of things that I had to figure out, the streets and corporate, they actually run parallel towards each other. Plus, not only that, on here I want to speak on some of my experiences or whatever. So I'm using this time out to tell you techniques that I've used from personal experiences and with less resources or whatever. So, I got a lot of storytelling to tell. I got so many different events, dates, and things that I've done that ups and downs, success and failures, far as figuring out how to deal, with money here in these United States of America. And that's from a person, what I'm saying, that, don't quote unquote make six figures, but I've made six figures off of the streets and off of the hustle and off of working for myself. And I'm gonna get into all of that. Okay, so the first thing of what I wanted to start as far as the definition and knowing, what something means or what words mean when you speak in financial, being financial, financially not illiterate but literate. Knowing the definitions of what this actually means. And the thing is that a lot of our people don't know the corporate terminology on, how can I say, what certain words mean as far as like financial institutions, interest, compounding interest. They don't know, what long-term or short-term investment is. And this is the basic foundation of, knowing how to manage money. Now, when I was coming up, I never, I knew that you hustled and you worked and you spent money and you worked. But then once when the politics started getting into it and I started becoming conscious about these certain groups that, kind of like maze or kind of build the structure where a lot of our money goes to these certain groups and we don't get no kickback. All we just do is consume. But anyway, I will say that I started off talking about how you are supposed to manage, the bills and how you actually gain capital. All right. So when you, and this is before, and this is not some get rich quick scheme or whatever, but before you do anything, right, you have to make sure that the house is straight. That's your first wall. That's your first level. Make sure that the house is straight as far as paying all the bills up. Now, I will say this. When you pay all the bills up, all right, and like I said earlier, that the rent is one of the biggest bills. So it would make sense. A lot of people say, well, I'm not going to have no more money, to do what I want to do. It's not about doing what you want to do. It's about doing what you need to do and securing your position. So you work all winter so that way that you could, do what you want to do for the summer. You work all summer so that way that you could be able to rest for the winter. So you have to take that approach, If you was to actually pay your rent up like 2 to 3 months at a time and sacrifice going out, then the possibility of you paying the rent up 3 to 4 months is possible. You have to give or take on certain things. If you want to secure your way of living, and I don't care how much money you make, if you want to secure your way of living, this is the shit that you got to do when you're working with the bare minimums. This is Urban Special Forces way of fucking money management. And I created different systems and created different techniques on how you can do that. But it's all through, you know what I'm saying, how much that you consume and how disciplined you are with running that shit consistent. Whether you can sit and fast, you know what I'm saying, or we call this paying attention to critical success areas. So if you wanted to start making any type of investment, instead of you going out 5 times a week, you have to cut that shit down to 2 times, because the money that you would spend while you out could go towards the investment. Some of the time you have to sit still in order to get shit done, you know, to pay for shit or to make payments on shit. So you have to do that. You have to take advantage of what $15 to $20 to what $100 can do and get the most out of it. That's how I always survive. I looked at what was the most important. You know what I'm saying? What was the most important? You could party at any given time. But, you know, if you don't pay your rent for 2 and 3 months, you can get put out at any time. So the thing is to secure your way of living. If you was to pay the rent up for that amount of time, then you can snowball and roll that money over to the next bill and do the same thing. So you pay your rent up for 3 months. Then you take the rent money that you would have paid those months prior and then go to your phone bill. All right? And now you pay your phone bill up for 6 months. Then from the phone bill, you hop up and pay the electric bill for 4 months. All right? And then from the electric bill, you can go ahead and hop up, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, and roll that into, if you have car insurance, you can pay that up for 2 months. If you have health insurance, you can pay that up for 2 months. Yep, you can pay that up for 2 months. For let's just say you got a car note, you can pay that up. Now, mind you, a car is a luxury. It is a luxury. A car is a luxury, and not only that, how can I say, anything else prior to you having fun or going out or any type of pleasure or comfortability is a luxury. So we got house, phone, electricity, we got car insurance, we got health insurance, and we got a car note. All right? Then you got food. 4 months worth of food supply. So now, being as though that you have that, all right, you done paid that up for the whole year, so you done freed yourself up. You may have to work the whole year to pay all this shit up the way that I'm talking about it, but the next year or the next 6 months rolling over into that following year, oh, it'll be a breeze. It'll definitely be a breeze. You would definitely have enough cash to go ahead and focus on something else. So we go ahead and we leap over, you understand what I'm saying? We leap over into your investments. Now that you done paid everything up in the house, if you're a person that wants to invest, now you have money to put into your business. Okay? So now you can make your investment. Now you make your investment. That's the second wall when you make your investment. All right? So you structure and make your investment. And then after you make your investment, you start to build your emergency fund in the process of all of this, which I call it the E fund. The importance of the emergency fund is what it is. It's an emergency fund. In the streets, when I used to hustle, I always used to save $5 off of every $10 that I made. You understand what I'm saying? Or I would used to save $10 off of every $100 that I made. Why? Because it's important. It's always important to keep a nest egg in the cut, because you never know when you might take a hit or something and you have to survive through that turbulence. I'm going to say it again. It's always good to keep some money in the cut, because you never ever know when you may take a hit, so that way that you can survive through the turbulence financially. You understand what I'm saying? So my thing was that when I hustled or I made any type of money, I always put a small percentage to the side just in case. And that has helped me out tremendously. That has helped me out tremendously. You know what I'm saying? Throughout the course of the year, if you was to pay into your emergency fund or whatever, you have a nice little $5,000-$6,000. That money, when I say emergency fund, that's exactly what that money is for. It's for emergencies. It's like hitting emergency brakes on a motherfucking train. If you ain't got no choice, you know that for the last 2 years you've been saving up and you got $6,000 that you could go get to immediately deal with a motherfucking problem. Because here in this country, we deal with problems on a consistent basis. And I mean, it's not a goddamn joke. You have to line your shit up like that. So you have an emergency fund. Whether a person get locked up or you need to pay for a lawyer or whatever, you have to have cash on deck, you know what I'm saying, to deal with various different situations. And as a leader and as a person who's running a business, you have to think about these type of things. You understand what I'm saying? You have to set shit up. This is what you call financial infrastructure. Every dollar has a responsibility. You know what I mean? So it's just like, you know, especially if you're a person that works for yourself, you have to cover your own ass. So most likely, this is how you militarize all your efforts. I don't give a fuck. Like I said, you can make under $30,000. You can set this shit up. It's not about how much you make, but it's about how much you keep and how and what position you set yourself up in. And that's one of the things that I actually learned. You know, I'm going to get into stories on how I see a lot of my homeboys. And I ain't going to say nobody's names, but I'm going to talk about different stories. And if they see this shit, they know who I'm talking about, on how they used to waste fucking money. Yeah, on how they used to waste fucking money and how, you know, it affects the character, you know what I mean, just of a person think that they just entitled because of some shit. You understand what I'm saying? When, you know, they've been to college and then got degrees and finances and shit, and they don't even play that shit out, you know, for what they learned. They don't even adapt that shit to their household. But all of the shit that I learned on the street, I applied to the household. When I got to college and I was self-educating myself or whatever with how to deal with finances and shit, right? I learned that I could take from the streets and take the corporate, and they run parallel towards each other. You understand what I'm saying? So it's just, you got niggas in the streets that got jeans on, and then you got corporate motherfuckers that wear suits. You dig? But it still like remains the same in principle, except niggas use, you know, corporate, they use lawyers and shit. Out on the streets, you get your ass beat or a motherfucker, you know what I'm saying, shoot the shit out you. So, I mean, it runs parallel towards each other. So what I'm saying is that, you know, with this, we have to start off, this is a part of building the horse stance and foundation. Because if you invest in the house, even if you're renting an apartment, if you secure your position. In college, I remember that motherfuckers used to pay their room and board up front. You will have to go down to the Mitchell building and pay room and board, you know what I'm saying, and pay for your yearly books and shit like that. But you had to give them a check of like $5,000 to $10,000 so that way that you could eat for the semester. Well, the same principle is being applied once when you come out here and what we call, and notice how they say the real world, you know what I'm saying? Because that college was supposed to stimulate you staying up on campus to forge your own independence. Because your parents ain't up there. You got to wake up and go to class. You got to do certain different things. And I'm going to tell you, time management, you know what I'm saying? That's how I made it through a lot of time management. You know, I ran shit like a Fortune 500 company. A lot of time, I didn't waste a lot of time spending on one motherfucking thing. You know what I mean? So a lot of niggas wasted a lot of time. You know what I'm saying? Instead of capitalizing on the time that they did have. Most of the time, I was making money. 70% of the time, what? You spend in the classroom meeting people. But it's about the notes that you take and how you can pay attention to detail, which is the same on the street as far as observation. If you got good observation tactics or whatever, then and not only that, you have to apply this shit to your everyday doing. That's why you can make $100,000 a year and I can make $30,000 a year and I will whoop your ass every motherfucking time. Because when it come down to it, because you make six figures, you're going to get big-headed. And this is where a lot of people go wrong. You're going to spend more money. It look like that you're getting it. But it's a lot of ghost costs and that level when you make six figures. And then if you don't know how to cycle that money or put that money to work, then you just going to be a motherfucker that makes six figures that's living paycheck to paycheck, which is, you know, it's still, you're still locked in a fucked up habit any goddamn way. So my thing is that if you could make 100,000, right? And you could live off 40,000, you got $60,000 to run. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it is that you're doing all year, you could break that up 18, 30, or 20. That's 60,000. If you reinvest back into the infrastructure. So if you buying and selling something, it's always good to make your inventory and to stack your inventory. Now, I just told you about paying shit up at the house as far as like months at a time. Once when the house is paid for, then you can invest because you free that room up to be able to do so. Then after that, then you can work on your emergency fund. And then after you do your emergency fund or whatever, right? If you got any kids or anything like that, then you can put away money for them, which is long term. All right? Which is long term. If you got any babies. And I will say this, you know, it's definitely good, you know, to put $2 to $3 away in a jar, you know, start off in a jar or some type of CD account for the kids. So that way, when the children get older, you know, they'll be able to, you know, have a good start. They'll have some money to start off with. A lot of y'all don't think about your kids. You know what I'm saying? Which a bunch of you motherfuckers is some stingy motherfuckers, man. You know, I don't give a fuck. You know, the state ain't gonna do shit for you. I'm gonna tell you that right now. If you don't opt to do this shit for yourself, the state ain't gonna do shit for you. You have to set the shit up on your own. Then not only that too, when you build all these different shelters for your money and putting that shit to work, that shit stops inflation. So they can tax you on how much you want, but you taking that money out of the system and you creating your own engine to put that money in, so that way that you could use those dollars countless times. And I'm gonna get into that too. So all I'm saying is this is the part. You pay the house up for 3 months, you pay your phone bill up for 6 months, you pay your electricity up, you know what I'm saying, for 4 months, you pay your car note or car insurance up for 2 months, you pay your health insurance up for 2 months at a time, and then you pay you know what I'm saying, whatever car note, or if you haven't bought the motherfucking car lot, you pay that shit up every 2 months. Now this is gonna require for you not going out. You just gonna have to come home and go out in your own crib. You just gonna have to have fun in your own crib for a couple of months to get this shit done. But if you spent the year getting this shit done, the next following year after that will be glorious. It will be glorious. It's nothing like being able to sleep at night knowing that the bills is paid. You understand what I'm saying? And that you ain't got to worry about shit. So it's all about money management and cash placement. All right, this is not no get rich type of shit. This is money management at its finest. If you do this shit like this, you'll be able to get rich quick. You'll be able to. You'll be able to. I done had plenty of people make more money than me or whatever, but I out hustle their ass because I never. First and foremost, I never get into something that wastes energy. 2, I always get a return on my money, whether I break even or not. 3, if I borrow from myself, I pay myself back. You dig? I'm going to say this again. If I borrow from myself, I pay myself back. If I borrow from any, different financial bracket that I built, I put that shit back as if I was paying the bill to these corporate motherfuckers. You understand what I'm saying? If you could pay a credit card bill, then you can create your own credit card. You don't really have to use their money. You don't have to. So you have to octopus this shit. You know what I'm saying? And like on the grid, it has to be like some shit like this. When you build different selections. You understand what I'm saying? I'm just showing you. It has to be like this. This is how you build your financial structure as far as having these different categories, you know what I'm saying, of circles being filled. And it may take you a year to do so. But when it's built, you be well on your way. It takes time to make time. But you have to put yourself in the position to create the time to make more time. So what you do, you constantly prep. You prep for prep. If you fix your lunch at night, you know what I'm saying, you saved yourself 15 minutes. You understand the concept? You save yourself 15 minutes the next day. If you do your hair at night, you save yourself straight in the morning. All you got to do is wash your ass, brush your teeth, wipe your face, and spray down or do whatever you do. You know what I'm saying? And then you be out the door. So it's always a constant preparation. It's always a constant time consolidation. You know, how can I create an extra 4 hours to do this? If I do all this shit now, I free myself up time so that way I can concentrate my efforts on more critical parts of whatever operation that need the success. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like that. It's definitely like that. So this is part one. Technically this is not part one, but this is 6.6 on the art of paying bills. You understand what I'm saying? Pay the bills up more than just a monthly, you know what I mean? Pay that shit up 2 and 3 months at a time. All right. When you can pay your rent more than 4 months, then you have made progress. All right. They don't want you to do that because the system try to set it up for you to be in debt. But the thing is that if you paying into the infrastructure, there's nothing that if you pay into, you know what I mean, that it ain't gonna work back for you. The heavens will take care of you. You understand what I'm saying? So if you always putting money down for gas, if you always have gas, if you always, you know what I'm saying, paying your rent 4 and 5 months at a time, if anything happened, you secure your position. You know what I mean? Something could happen where you may have to be transitioning towards another job. By you paying the rent up months at a time, it'll give you that cushion time to be able to do so. That shit'll be up and out the motherfucking way. But in order to have that type of success, you're going to have to rice and beans this shit. And when I mean rice and beans, meaning for 90, maybe almost 4 months, you don't go out until all that shit is done. Until you pay. You just work, you know what I'm saying? You just work until all that shit is paid up for 2 and 3 months. After you finish that, you know what I'm saying, by you working for 4 months straight and fasting from going out, you build your body up, you clear your mind, you focus on the shit that you need to focus on, and then you would know the sense and the feeling of being able to be in control, you know what I'm saying, of your household, because you got all your shit together. So guess what? Now you open up the time where you can have fun. All right, by you making that mere sacrifice, you open up the time where you can invest into something. And this is how you create an open lane. But you cannot do what you want to do if you have not handled all the basic primaries towards your survival. So I'm going to cut this out. This is Lee Majors, 6.6, the art of paying bills. You understand what I'm saying? Check me out. Make sure that you like and subscribe to the goddamn channel, man. You know, so we can get this shit out here, Urban Special Forces style. You understand what I'm saying? No doubt. Verse for verse all day. And to all my real ones out there, make sure, you know what I'm saying, that y'all stay frosty. Peace.